So if I was gonna describe what a tabletop or a pen and paper tabletop role-playing game is to someone that didn't know what it was or had never played before, I would say it's sort of an alternate reality kind of game where you take on the persona of someone else, and you tell the other players what you do, and if you say something that that character says, you actually say it, and you can pretend to do it in their voice and everything else.
There's players playing, characters, fantasy characters, sci-fi characters, whatever. And they describe what they want to do, and the Dungeon Master, Game Master, he describes what happens. So, I think that's the simplest way you can describe it. It's just make-believe with rules.
The first time I played, I was about 10, 11, or 12. Really early, because my father, he got me into it because he wanted me to read more, which is pretty much it. And also he was sadistic and he wanted somebody to torture. When you Dungeon Master, it's making memories with friends and it's creating a world. It allows you to express your creativity and also allows you to enjoy that time with other people and create something together. I describe a tabletop as, if people haven't heard of it before, as a pen and paper RPG where you would take on the role create a character and take on the role of said character in a fictional world that is created by the Dungeon Master and the players. And in that world, they pursue quests and express creative freedom by making their own actions in said world.
Favorite memory with playing an RPG? Definitely as a player, just coming up with, no, it's not. It's not as a player, no. There was this one time when I did a one-off and a certain player character played a wizard and fell into a trap just so perfectly. So basically the scenario was, there's a big hallway, it's dark, can't really see, it's dim. I think they could see a little bit, I don't remember. But, and there's statues lining the hallway. Because these statues in an RPG is always bad news. The statues are always gonna try and kill you in some fashion or form. Or maybe give you a riddle, Anyway, so he went straight down into it and saw that there was a stone there that would probably trigger the trap, right? So he identified that there was a trap and then proceeded to just cram down the stone with his staff, which just caused fire to come at him from every direction and just completely incinerate him. Well, he didn't get completely incinerated, but boy, the young acolyte priest that he was guiding down, that was guiding him down the path did.
Okay, I'll tell you, this is a terribly telling story. I was playing a Wookiee in a Star Wars universe, and we were interrogating a particular player or a particular player character, and he was not cooperating. And so I immediately, I was kind of playing the bad cop, good cop, and I went in, I knew we had a medic that could deal with it, and I went in and cut his ear off. In terms of and just the looks on people's faces when my character Rorschach walked in and did that as part of the negotiating and the tactics, I think was one of the funniest things. So that was, again, one of a million just amazing stories and times I've had with tabletop RPGs. I like being that character. I think that aspect of imagining the world and the world building and having that creative storytelling of, wow, when I finish this campaign or this adventure, to call my husband on the phone and be like, guess what I did tonight, and he's like, you mean your character did? And I'm like, no, but it was me. So I love getting into character.
So I would say the best tabletop role-playing game for someone that was new to it or a group of new players would probably be something like Dungeons and Dragons, where there's lots of support for it, and you can even get something like Dungeons and Dragons for Dummies or books that basically tell you about playing. But I would say something like that because it's very structured. Whenever you level and advance your character, you start off very, very simple. There are a limited number of choices as you advance, and you really don't have to have a very large imagination to fill your character out.
All right, the best starting game for a player and a dungeon master would definitely be Starfrontier. It's all online now because it was made back in the 80s, I believe. And it's super simple, it just takes 2 dice for doing any action. And nowadays you just have the dice rolling app anyways. But it's super simple, and it's fun, and there's not a lot of rules. It's easy, and it's a great time, always.